would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which this was filmed and made, the Bidjigal people of the Darug Nation, to their elders past, present and emerging. I acknowledge that this always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
Hi guys, my name's Jaelyn and today we're going to be exploring Bidjigal Reserve, so let's explore.
Bidjigal Reserve is in the inner west of Sydney and follows parts of the Darling Mills Creek and Excelsior Creek. The area previously known as Excelsior Park now houses multiple walking tracks that show the diverse landscapes of the area. The reserve connects Castle Hill, Balcombe Hills, North Mead, North Rocks and West Bennett Hills, and today I'm mainly walking the Platypus Tract, named this because of the regular platypus sightings up until 1970 when the sewer was installed. Bidjigal Reserve is 186 hectares that is used to commemorate the Indigenous people of the land, as early colonisation of the region due to the need for cattle grazing areas meant that by 1801 large-scale clearing had occurred, destroying much of the ecosystems in the surrounding area. The reserve today is cared for in conjunction with the council by members of the Bidjigal Reserve Trust. However, despite the efforts of the trust, continued deterioration of parts of the reserve can be seen as native flora and fauna continue to disappear due to introduced species and urbanisation. The trust also tries to protect the numerous Indigenous sites that are found in the reserve. These are more commonly found in areas which are not accessible by the walking tracks. However, despite this and the Trust's efforts, they too are still continuing to deteriorate. To help combat the urbanisation of the park, the local government instilled a policy during the renaming of the park in April 2004, which states that the care of the reserve was to be overseen and directed by the Aboriginal people. Despite their best efforts, this unfortunately hasn't happened to the degree at which they hoped. In 2012, an extensive plan of management was adopted to continue to care for the park, introducing measures such as baiting foxes, providing education through the plan of management, as well as mapping the trails and sites more effectively. The significance that the reserve provides is extensive due to the number of native flora and fauna that reside in the park, such as the turtle and rosella that I saw when I was filming. The park is also very close to the local primary school and so is used to educate students about their impact on the environment. There is also knowledge that Pemulwuy used this area as a base during his resistance to British occupation, seen by the signs at all the major entry points to the reserve. As of 2012, when the plan of management was adopted, there were also 52 tangible Aboriginal heritage sites, including art, a grinding groove, scarred trees, and potential habitation shelters. This continues to make this reserve more significant to both the Indigenous people as well as the non-Indigenous. I myself have only seen a few of these sites despite the extensive amount of time that I've spent there, because most of these sites are off the tracks and I try not to disturb the vegetation that surround them. One of these sites, a shelter with art, I have seen, however it is extremely hard to see now due to graffiti like this. All of the sites within the reserve are not physically signed or marked, so are extremely hard to find to those who don't know what they're looking for. I think this also contributes to why they continue to be damaged, as people are unaware of what they are and why they're so important. This area not only provides a sanctuary to the local fauna, but also for the local people like me. I've grown up only 500 metres from the reserve, so I've spent many hours with my family exploring and playing within it. The research that I've done for this assessment has made me rethink about how all of us use this reserve and how little that is known to the public about the reserve. It makes me quite upset knowing that we have such a special place within our backyard that isn't cared for by the people that live so close. The reserve is extremely special to me because of the links that I have with my family and the area. However, the more research I've done, the more that I can respect the Indigenous links as well as respect the sites and the ground that I'm walking on. Indigenous histories and knowledges are so vital for reserves like this to be able to continue to care for them and continue to ensure that places like this are available to the public. I would love to see in the future this reserve be used for more educational purposes and more to be known about the park to the wider public. I hope you've enjoyed walking through Bidjigal Reserve with me and two of my siblings today as we explore and talk about why this site is so important to the Indigenous people.